that back just a bit so that it doesn't fall down when I'm up there.
Mike needs to be here.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
So you came up after all that.
I did.
You could have told us to do that.
I
Learn to give directions. Be a dictator.
She's a gabbai. She gives directions all the time.
Obviously not often enough.
All right. All right.
Now
The
you have
difference
to go
between giving
down the
directions and
stairs.
delegating.
Yeah, the Velcro apparently, when they made these holes, they didn't take into account the Velcro, so
Hey,
It doesn't
okay,
sit-
so it doesn't sit smooth.
it doesn't sit smooth the way it should.
Okay. Oh, well.
Because we have lots of people, like the beautification committee, who never thinks to ask Ritual to be involved in any of these decisions.
It's too bad someone should sew this around because it's frayed.
I could do that.
I can do that too.
I just did a nice buttonhole stitch on my tallis, which would frame that off nicely.
Yeah, well,
There's no extra charge for the extra.
yeah, well, like I said,
Yeah.
that I don't think was, I think.
I think what
Because that's where the actual hole is.
right, and I think also someone was like drilling, thinking that that was the right place, realized their error, and then had to start over.
Oh, that's why you're supposed to.
Well, don't keep sticking your finger in it.
Yes.
Let's keep making it bigger.
Yeah.
I just found 9 yards. Yadayim.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
we're all
they are
set for
hiding
Monday
under
night.
there.
So there's like, so should there be no yard, there's spares?
Yeah.
We can.
Well, anyways, yes, so let's do that, and,
And that should include the page number, like Shalom.
we're not heading to. Well, you know, apparently one of the problems is we know with fascist governments is that the leader doesn't get real input of what's going on.
So it's A4.
Page 41. This page.
But the article,
Should we ask if it's the first person?
Roger Stone stuff.
Is it the first time for anyone?
Well, that's also something that, is Roger Stone this
I don't think that, I mean, like, we can invite people, but that's not our main concern right now.
No, we don't have it here, it's day 4, that's what I know.
Yeah.
But she's quite aware. I mean, for a woman of her age, she was spot on. And I remember 4 years ago, we were all saying, retire. She chose not to have those rights. Is it crucial to have it on?
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
But you own it with joy and pride, and it does make things better.
I don't have a small prayer book with me.
Like, what's contributions? We reflect the cultural past.
Really well. Yeah. I hear it.
And you're fine, but yeah, that's my task.
No,
Hi.
Josie, stand back. Don't go anywhere near that, please. Thank you.
That far? He's not a trucker, he's not a Mac.
Who is it?
What I was told was that Ryan Young would not have worked on this promotion. This was something, oh, okay, so. Whatever it was, yeah. It's really good qualities. So I don't know what it is.
So the idea is we start on the patriarchs and we go down into Egypt and then we come out of Egypt. So Yosef is the bridge between. Yeah, so basically the order takes us from Abraham into slavery, out of slavery, to Sinai.
No, and in public, but anyway, so yeah.
So do you want to do?
Guys, the crowds are stuck in the parking lot. I'm just kidding. Should we start soon, or
We haven't figured that out.
there's nobody here?
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Oh, Lake's here.
Oh, there were two of us. We count.
We're almost there.
No hurry. I'm gonna actually log on to the Zoom account because I've seen that at least one person is there, and I'll tell them to. And the mics are working. The mics are on.
Yes, we've checked the mics.
You turn them on.
Yes, they're on. We've done mic tests. Everything is good. I think I'll do
That
the
means, by the way,
explanation of
that
the
people can
species.
hear us now.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, what?
I mean,
That
people-
means that people can hear us.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll do the explanation of the species.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So you do the explanation and then you do the prayer book. I'm not gonna do my.
Excellent. Will do.
Excellent.
Go team.
I know, right?
Numbers don't matter. I'm here.
Exactly.
Really,
Now the party can get started. If people feel so inclined to come a little bit closer, that would make us happy.
We promise we don't very well. Okay,
So they're switching to live stream.
excellent. Oh,
I think we have a wolf in the kahal.
indeed, indeed.
Turn on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on?
So, welcome.
We're in person on a Friday night.
Indeed, it's
Very
exciting.
special. And also some people on live stream, thank you for joining us.
Yes. So it's been a long time since we've had Friday night in the synagogue. It's wonderful to see friendly, familiar faces. And for the people who are joining us online, thank you. So things are going to be a little bit different tonight for a few reasons. Our idea is to have regular, occasional Friday night lives, which will often include family-friendly possibilities, storytelling for kids, singing for everyone, followed by Kiddush. Tonight is our first, but it's going to be a little bit different from that model because we are in the middle of a holiday. And so we don't do a lot of the usual Friday night blessings that we would normally do and the Friday night prayers. The idea is Friday night, Kabbalat Shabbat is supposed to get us in the mood to be joyful. And we're already joyful. We've got our Sukkot, we've got our lulavs. It's a joyous time. So we're going to do some songs celebrating the holiday, some songs that are just joyous in their own right, and a little taste of Kabbalat Shabbat to bring us into our evening service.
We can light candles.
Yes.
Before we light the candles, is there anyone, unfortunately, we can't invite people on the live stream to let us know if you have any mazel tovs in your lives this week, but I invite you to hold them in your heart. And anyone in here with us who has a mazel tov that you want to share with us this coming week or in this past week that hasn't been acknowledged? No? Yes.
Please.
That's lovely. Your son was visiting from California. That doesn't happen so often.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's a joyous thing.
Yes.
I don't know if it's in the shop, but my granddaughter Abby is at college in Boston at Emerson, and Michelle is cooking Shabbat dinner at Hillel tonight because they value her and she loves to cook, and it's parents' weekend, so she's not here. She's making a wonderful dinner for Hillel.
In Emerson, she's making a dinner for your granddaughter in Emerson.
That's beautiful.
But she still made sure that we have Kiddush here.
Yes.
We can count on Michelle.
Yes. She is a force.
She is. Do you want to light candles for us?
I would. So, and I will add my own simchas, which is that my father just had a birthday and my
Oh,
mother is
awesome.
about to have a birthday. So happy birthday to both of them. Asher kitshal misposa vetzivanu, Hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. You know, usually at this point in our service, when we're on Zoom, see, we've developed these minhagim that come, these practices that come from Zoom, and now they're the minhag, they're our practice. We share mazel tovs, and we share some blessings. Do you want to tell us something about our blessings?
Absolutely. So normally at this point, we start with a blessing. We put an arm around someone that we love, or if we're by ourselves, we put a hand over our hearts. We hold our loved ones in our hearts if they're far away. And we wish them peace and health and safety and all good things. And the blessings that we say partly come from the priestly blessings that we use in the morning service, and which a lot of parents say over their children on Friday nights. But it also comes from Buddhist meditation, the idea of wishing good things to all living creatures. And we found this remarkable song by Alana Aryan that ties together all of these ideas beautifully.
May I be saved. May I be free. I have space to just be. May I find my way back home. May I find our way back home.
So if you're next to someone, I see that some of you are already putting an arm over someone's shoulder, or just a look of acknowledgement and care. And we hold each other in our hearts, and we'll offer this blessing to ourselves and our loved ones. Josh will sing, and we'll sing with him. May you be safe.
May you be saved.
May you be free.
May you be free.
May you find space.
May you find space
Space to just be.
to just be.
Can you hear our song?
Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May I find your way back home. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May you find your way back home.
So, as I said in the beginning, we're in this unusual time weaving together Chag and Kabbalat Shabbat, and we're a little of this and a little of that. And it put me in mind of this story that I heard from one of my teachers, Eben Leader, that there were two Hasidim who wanted to see what would happen if you made Shabbat on a Tuesday. Would it feel any different? So they went out into the woods, and they put on their nice Shabbos clothes, and they sang all of the songs of Kabbalat Shabbat, and they ate a Shabbos meal, and the candles and everything, and it felt like Shabbat. And they were very disturbed by this, and they went back to their Rebbe, and they were like, what is going on? We have to admit, we did this thing, we did Shabbat on a Tuesday, and it felt just like Shabbat. And does this mean that Shabbat itself isn't special, if we can just have that feeling whenever? And the Rebbe said to them, you know, the spirit of Shabbat, the Shabbos bride, wanders the earth all the time, waiting for us to let her in. And whenever we open that door, there she is, whether it's a Tuesday or whether it's a Friday. And so in this moment, we've got this taste of Kabbalat Shabbat, and we're bringing in Kabbalat Shabbat, and we're also bringing in the spirit of the Chag, the spirit of Sukkot, the sheltering presence. So, on page 404 in your Sidurs, if you have them, we're going to do a medley of songs for the holiday, and you'll hear some tastes of the Shabbat songs that we know and love as well.
And also some tastes of the Hakafot
Yes.
for Simchat Torah coming in a few days. This is the tune. So we're going to do down the left side and then the bottom. Sayinai. Samachta b'chagecha. That's our commandment for Sukkot, to be joyful. Samachta b'chagecha ve'ayitach sameach. 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 Samachta b'chagecha ve'ayitach sameach.
The second on the far left, it's good to praise you, God.
טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולברך לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להקיא בבוקר, בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. להקיא בבוקר, בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון. שיהיה את עמך, וברך את נחלתך. אורם, 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 ונשם עד עולם. הושיע את עמך, וברך את נחלתך. אורם, 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 ונשם עד עולם. הושיע את עמך, וברך את נחלתך. אורם, 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 ונשם עד עולם. הושיע את עמך, וברך את נחלתך. אורם, 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 ונשם עד עולם.
At the bottom in the middle, I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where will my help come from?
אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין תבוא עזרי. אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי הנה עם אדוני, עושה שמיים בארץ. עזרי עם אדוני, עושה שמיים בארץ. אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי.
We come from this joyous taste of the Hakafot into the Psalm for Shabbat on page 27 in your Sidur. We'll do the beginning together, and then we'll transition to the last paragraph on the next page.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי גיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. We could do the next chunk of 4 lines. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. On page 28, the end of the psalm, the red carrot. צדיק אתה מה יפרח יפרח, צדיק אתה מה יפרח, צדיק אתה מה יפרח יפרח, צדיק אתה מה יפרח. כארץ בלבנון יזכה, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, יזכה. כארץ בלבנון יזכה, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, יזכה.
On page 29, we'll read in the English for Mikolot Hamayim, which we often don't pay enough attention to. We do the Hebrew and we do the alternate, and I wanted a slightly different flavor for tonight that brings the sense of the surging waters. We're about to start praying for rain in a couple of days, and so the surging waters are very much in our minds. We read in the italics, the rivers rise up, Adonai, the rivers raise up their roar, the rivers raise up their waves, above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens.
Are we
So
counting
we,
ourselves as having a minion? Yes.
triangle, triangle, yes.
Yes, we have a minion. Thank you for
Excellent.
joining us. We have a minion in the room. So
And with that in mind,
on page 30, I'd like to invite mourners and anyone observing a yard site to join me in the mourners' Kaddish.
and we'll also take a moment to just say the names of those whose yard sites.
But that'll be at the end.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah. Page 30. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
בעלמא דברך יראותה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיא. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So, this week, for Shabbat were, at the end, we finished our reading in the synagogue of the book of Deuteronomy. We'll read the last chapters on Simchas Torah. And we've come to the end of Moses' journey and Moses' life. And there's this amazing midrash that comes about the end of Moses' life. So when Moses was first born, we know that his sister Miriam stayed by the river to watch over him and make sure that he would be okay and that he would be cared for. And because she waited by the river and protected him, the whole Jewish people waited for her in the desert when she was sick, and they wouldn't move on until she was ready to come with them. And similarly, at the end of Moses' life, because when Moses was going out of Egypt, he had taken the time to find Joseph's bones and bring them with the Israelites so that Joseph could be buried with his ancestors, with his family in the land of Israel. Because he had done that act of kindness towards someone who needed burial, he merited having God bury him at the end of his life. And so I wanted to open the floor for a moment. I wanted to open the possibility for people to consider and maybe offer a brief anecdote. When in your life has someone done something for you that you could never pay back, you could only pay forward? Take a moment and think. When have you paid things forward? Nancy, was that a hand? Too many to think of. Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Please, Beth.
In line at Dunkin' Donuts, I paid for the person's coffee behind me, and it just started a chain reaction.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The
That's
classic
beautiful.
pay it forward.
Yeah, paying for someone, literally paying it forward, paying for the next person in line, and then they offer that spirit of generosity to the next person. And you've made this the days of like how many strangers. It's wonderful.
I just, when you were saying that, I couldn't help but think of the whole experience of being a child and then being a parent.
Oh, wow. Wow.
If I think of who has given me so much that I couldn't possibly repay, it's my parents. And you know, I try the best with my kids. But I also think of it as a student and a teacher. There have been times that when I was a student and had very little money, and I had teachers who worked with me for whatever I could afford. And there are settings where I find somebody who needs my help. And I was just doing that today. Somebody was a musician who was having some pain issues. And I said, whatever you can afford is fine. If you give me your attention.
Beautiful.
And it feels a little bit like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's often the case with parents and children, teachers and students. Harriet, please.
I'm not sure how to explain this without going into real specifics that I want to do, but sometimes you have the ability to do something for someone else, and it doesn't cost money. It's just maybe because of your connections, who you know that you connect them with. And I have a friend that was able to do that for me. I really needed some help, and she just knew the right people to be able to put it together. And because she cared, and because she wanted to do that extra step, she gave me something that I could never repay with money. That I could repay it by helping someone else that needs something within me that I could give to them. And I have done that in other ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes you're paying it forward in kind and doing the same thing for someone else that was done for you. And sometimes it's changing and translating because what you have to offer may be logistical support or emotional support, that like your strengths may be different from the strengths of the person who helped you when you needed it. Beautiful, beautiful. So, in that spirit of gratitude and generosity, we're going to turn to the Baruch, which you can find on 39A.
And before we do the Baruch Hu, we've been doing this on Zoom, and it's been lovely to have my wife Beth singing with me, but I'm really excited to have everybody else also singing with me. For Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai, our God. I'm reading in the English on 39A. Sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light. Mavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvahot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hamari v'aravim. Page 40. Avat olam beit Yisrael amcha avta, Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu u'bekumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayinu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu uvayim neged yomam v'layla yomam v'layla. V'abachat asir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. The Shema continues on page 42. Please read to yourself, and we'll join at the bottom of the page. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Continue.
On page 44, with Mi Chamocha.
מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Page 45, Hashkivenu. We ask for peace in the night, so that we may be thoroughly refreshed and enter into this time fully and joyously.
And of course, the symbol of the peace is
The Sukkah.
Is our sukkah. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom, Amiteinu Malkeinu Lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom, Amiteinu Malkeinu Lechayim. Fros aleinu Sukkat Shlomecha, Fros aleinu Sukkat Shlomecha.
Read on the far side. Peace comes to us in the recognition that when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, when we recognize that we cannot control everything, redemption can be achieved. The central image in this prayer is the Sukkah of peace. The Sukkah is a fragile structure open to the elements. Peace is pictured not as a temple solidly built, gilded, perhaps ornate, but rather is created out of the most fragmentary of materials, leaving us vulnerable and at risk. And I want to hold on to this idea that peace is not about being guarded from all possible threats. It's about the courage to leave ourselves vulnerable to each other.
Third line from the bottom.
Thank you.
Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shabbat Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 46, please rise for Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם.
Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
V'yalmad yivrachute v'yamlich malchute
V'chayechon yom yomechon uchayedechol bet Yisrael ba'agala ba'agala u'lizman karev.
V'yimeru
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam le'almei almaya yitbarach.
Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yipramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha
Brichu.
Leila min kol berchata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'meru. Amen. The Amidah begins on page 47. Take a few moments for silent contemplation, either with the words on the page or the words and meditations of your heart.
We continue with the symbolic repetition of the Amidah on page 53. If you are able, please rise and remain standing until Magen Avot. Vayichulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam Vayichal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa Vayishpot b'yom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i Vayikadesh oto Ki bo shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasod. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Koneh shamayim v'haaretz Magen Avot bidbaro, mechayei metim b'mamaro, Ha'el hakadosh she'ein kemohu, Ameniach lamo b'yom Shabbat kadsho. Kivam ratza laniach lahem, Kivam ratza laniach lahem, Lefanav navod b'yira v'fachad, V'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, Me'on abrachot. El ahod ahod, Adon hashalom, Mekadesh hashabbat, U'varech shevi, U'miniach b'kedusha, La'amedu shnei oneg, Zecher lema'aseh, Lema'aseh v'reishid. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu ritzei b'menuchatenu kadshenu b'mitzvotecha v'tein chalkenu b'toratecha sabenu mituvecha v'samchenu b'shuatecha v'taher libenu li'avdecha be'emet V'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu B'ahava u'ratzon Shabbat kadshecha V'yanuchu v'Yisrael Mekadshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh hashabbat Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabba V'yamad yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayedecho beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kari v'yimeru Amen Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam 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 Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yibramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah b'richu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiram be'ama v'yimeru Amen Tikabel tzlotonu v'aton Dechol Yisrael kadam avuhon Dibishmai v'yimeru Amen Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru Amen Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru Amen
Aleinu is on page 56. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gdula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, אין עוד. על כן נקבל אחד אלינו. כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, מהיום ההוא, היום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. In the B'nai Tikva community, we are commemorating this week, as we say Kaddish, Evelyn Fishman, Judy Fleischman, excuse me, Elliot Heyman, Ann Siegel, Nathan Shapiro, Edith Braverman, Norman Pearlstein, Evelyn Rice, Harry L. Smith, Nathan Berkowitz, George Grobtuk, Norman Lappin, Abraham Shapiro, Louis Schuster, Marilyn Wartzman, Beverly Friedman, Charles Peel, Max Silver, Lillian Dietrich, Samuel Goldman, Arlene Modest, Annette Ben-Menachem, Doris Goldberg, Sidney Hurwitz, Carl M. Lewis, Simon Polonsky, Sonia Scarf, Grace Serkowitz, Ruth Boyndick, Ann Schwartz, Pearl Weiner. Perhaps there are other names that we should hear. Please rise if you are observing your site or in mourning for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. A few quick announcements. Services will be here and on live stream tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. Sunday night at 6 p.m. we have our service for Erev Shmini Atzeret and an abbreviated Yizkor service, both on Zoom. Monday at 10 a.m. we will have the morning of Shmini Atzeret and Yizkor in person in the synagogue and on live stream. Then Monday, 6 p.m. is Simchas Torah here in the synagogue. And Tuesday at 9:30 a.m., we will have Simchas Torah during the day in person. The live stream will start at 10, which means that people joining us online will be joining the service already in progress, and just know that that will be happening. So, at this moment, I'd like to invite everyone in the synagogue to join us in the sukkah for Kiddush and Motzi, and say Good Shabbos and Chag Sameach to everyone joining us online. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We will conclude with Psalm 27 on page 59. Just go from the part in bold. If it's your practice to read the whole psalm, you can read the psalm while we sing. Shalti met Adonai Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
It's possible we may have to get our kiddush from the social hall into the sukkah, if we want to eat it in the sukkah. I think that's the situation. We'll come back later, deal with all the things.